Thank you for coming today. I am Rino Murakami. I'll be presenting on my recent discovery of the female Japanese artist Keiko Yoneda. About a year ago, one of my acquaintances, Akihiro Hiraoka, who is a grandson of Keiko Yoneda, found a box full of Yoneda's manuscripts in his storage room, some of which looked like musical notation and others contained enigmatic numbers. Since I was a music student, Hiraoka asked me to analyze these manuscripts. As I continued to analyze her manuscripts, I began to understand her intriguing works and her interesting life stories. 3 months ago, I told my friend, Teppei Higuchi, about the discovery of this unknown Japanese composer, and Higuchi was immediately interested in it and suggested that I should present my analysis as part of this year's Darmstadt summer course, which we were already planning to attend. He asked Michel Maierhof to let me present my discovery, and now here I'm having this presentation. Keiko Yoneda was born in 1912 in Nagoya. She grew up in a wealthy merchant family. There was a piano in her house, which was very rare at that time. Because of her privileged circumstances, Yoneda was able to make herself familiar with music of Mozart and Beethoven in her childhood. In her 20s, she moved to Tokyo. This is a photo of her, possibly taken around the 1930s. She was dreaming of becoming a poet, and she was enjoying her life with her contemporaries, such as modernist poets Kyojiro Hagiwara and Yukio Haruyama. Tokyo, in 1930s, was already developed as a modern city, and various art and culture had flourished. However, as soon as the Second Sino-Japanese War began in 1937, the situation in Tokyo gradually became worse. In the same year, Yoneda got married to a composer, Shuzo Tanaka. From this time on, her name disappeared from all publications. Guessing from the situation in Japan in this time period, she had no choice other than to live as a housewife after the marriage. I had to rely on her journal to trace her life after 1937. In Yoneda's journal, Japan's gradual shift towards totalitarianism was depicted. In 1942, her husband, Shuzo Tanaka, died in the Battle of Midway. Around 1943 to 45, Yoneda secretly began to create peculiar musical scores. Probably she needed to avoid the censorship from the government. According to my analysis of these scores, they comprise only the C major triad, C's, E's, and G's that are extracted from Beethoven's 32 piano sonatas. The picture displayed on the left is the numbering chart of the extracted C major triad. She numbered 1,154 C major triads out of 32 piano sonatas. Then, as shown on the right, she transcribed them on the manuscript in the order. This is an example of her numbering system in the beginning of the first movement of Beethoven's first sonata. On this page, she rearranged them into a new order to construct a fragment. did Yoneda have to engage in such a mysterious work? Among her remaining manuscripts, there was an article by the famous Japanese composer Kosaku Yamada, which was published in a magazine in January 1942. It was titled The Greater East Asia War and Musicians' Determination, which seems to be propaganda to have encouraged the war. When the war ends with our tremendous victory by weapons, what comes next will be cultural activities. In other words, a war with a pen. All kinds of art will be involved in this war, but music is one of the most effective weapons. Therefore, we need to prepare now. Here, Kosaku Yamada asserts the need of musicians' involvement in the war. Yamada continues, the artistic activities, in order to accomplish the Greater East Asia War, should serve the nationalist music. It should not simply be nationalist music of an island, but it should praise Greater East Asia, Japan. In this sense, we have to compose something spectacular. The reason why Beethoven's music is still powerful today is that it is spectacular and uses the power of masculinity as the basis of his work. Is it possible to interpret Yoneda's work as an antithesis against such a propaganda by taking apart Beethoven's work? Let me introduce here triad number 324 of 1154. After the war, Yoneda worked on visual and sound poetry based on the preface of the Japanese Constitution. She counted the number of vowels and consonants, and she created a visual representation of them. I will now read a section of her sound poetry. 日本国民は正当に占領された勃発をめる代表者を通じて暴動し、我らと我らの子孫のために諸国民とその平和による成果と我が国全土にわたって自由のもたらすベイダ法を確保し、政府の防衛によって再び戦争の惨禍が起こることのないようにすることを決意し、母語に主権が国民に損することを宣言し、母の弁法を告とする。The Japanese constitution is often described as a peaceful constitution. In this sense, although it somewhat contradicts Yoneda's previous work, this work can be interpreted as a satire of democracy. I do not know what ideology did Yoneda hold on the relationship between art and politics, because in 1954 she wrote the following mysterious statement in her journal, where she quotes Daisetsu Teitaro Suzuki, who used to serve in World War II. Let your ears send a message of surprise or perplexity. That's the way. Was asked, Dr. Suzuki, what is the difference between men are men and mountains are mountains before studying them, and men are men and mountains are mountains after studying them? It is not a question of going in to oneself or out to the world. It is rather a condition of fluency that's in and out. Yoneda got married for the second time in 1948 and lived the rest of her life as a housewife. Until the discovery of her manuscripts, her life and works were completely unknown. Let me introduce triad number 287 of 1154. She died in Tokyo in 1992. As an interesting side note, her birth year and death year are the same as John Cage's. Let me introduce triad number 94 to 98 of 1154. Yoneda wrote in her journal in the year of her death, an artist is exiled and marginal, an amateur, and the author of a language that tries to speak the truth to power. fiction during the war period in Japan, Keiko Yoneda was forced to become exiled and marginal. She was not a professional, but an amateur artist. I believe that non-professional, non-European artist, Keiko Yoneda's life, work, and works allow us to question and deconstruct our Western-centric and patriarchal history